81 when San Simeon, the flying WA horse, led all of the way to make it something like 17 out of 18 or thereabouts. But either way, this year's final is a whole lot different. The short-priced favourite is our Savancelot, pre-post at even money. The bookies are betting even money pre-post, but I think that the TAB dividends or update might be a little bit shorter with comments like Peter Smith made. An absolute special, according to some members of the media. I'm not so sure. Let's have a look now at the field. Try a Fluke. How this horse has improved. Justin Warwick, trainer-driver. Justin hasn't driven much in the series, if at all, because he's had the chicken pox. But he's all right now, and he'll drive Try a Fluke, drawn barrier 1. This horse was, I suppose you'd say, a competent free-for-aller at Globe Derby going back a year or two, but Justin's really got the best out of Try a Fluke. He won on the first night, then a third and a fourth, ended up with 30 points, did Try a Fluke. And, of course, he will probably lead the race. He had the speed to lead Quantum Lobel early on, so there's no reason why he can't hold them out from 1. Gavin Lang will drive Justin Warwick's other horse, Atta Turk, drawn barrier 2. I thought he trailed off a bit the last 2 heats, 8th and a 5th. He might be struggling. He finished with 23 points, purely and simply because of a win on night 1. Number 3 is Anvil Star. This horse has been driven very quietly in the series. Did have some nice barrier draws to run third and second. Finished with 29 points. But in each of his races, Anvil Star, he's finished on and he's finished hard. And Robert Cameron, of course, knows how to get horses well and truly up to the mark with Interdominions, as we talk about horses like Iroquois last year, and this horse, Anvil Star, and back to Robin Dundee in the 60s. Anthony Butt has driven this horse extremely well so far. If it gets a nice run, don't leave the horse out. Now, the Cadbury colours will be carried by Quantum Lobel. Mark Tracy will drive the horse. Mark is the leading Grand Circuit driver of the moment, having won 3 of them, of course, with our Savancelot. His form's been terrific, Quantum Lobel, second, first and first. In last year's final, he looked one of the leading chances, but he was disappointing when racing behind his stablemate, our Savancelot, and dropping out. I thought he was getting a bit tired the other night in winning, but when you look at it, he did break a track record, so Quantum Lobel will be right there, and Mark Tracy will drive. Captain Rufus is coming good. His first heat night first run wasn't that good, but the 4th sitting in the death seat was terrific, and again last week in the death, a sensational effort to win. He's one of the horses in the race with the least amount of starts and prize money, but he certainly is on the up. Now they're at the boxes at Penrith. We'll have a look at more of those runners as time permits, but right now let's
go. Newsbreaker began very quickly out wide. He was driven for speed. Holy Chips trying to match him, and Talk About Charles is going through along the inside and a mad charge to the first turn. Holy Chip comes across to lead Newsbreaker. Talk About Charles was 3rd. Roman Origin was 4th. Very wide out was Skipper Trust as Northern Brewer eases back to second last, and Allwood's Chief is at the rear. Holy Chip at work to the lead. Talk About Charles on its back. Newsbreaker hanging back for some cover. None there at the moment, but Skipper Trust is out 3 deep, and he is going to press on now. He's moving around Roman Origin. Oridon Hill is 3 back along the inside. Happy Asset is 1 off the inside, 4th last, and tracked by Rainbow Knight. Allwood's Chief 2nd last, and Northern Brewer at the rear of the field. Skipper Trust was trapped 3 wide, but David Murphy elected to press on here, and he works up on the outside of Holy Chip as they work into the back. Holy Chip the leader. Skipper Trust is now without cover. Talk About Charles is 3rd on the inside. 1-1 was Newsbreaker. 3 back the inside, Oridon Hill. Around it was Roman Origin. Rainbow Knight pressing on early on in the race, and Allwood's Chief is 3 deep, getting onto his back. Happy Asset was 2nd last and 4 metres away to Northern Brewer as they work off the back. 2.5 laps to go. Holy Chip is the leader. Rainbow Knight is about to work to the breeze. May end up with some cover shortly because Allwood's Chief is out there 3 deep as Rainbow Knight did get to the breeze. Talk About Charles, the leader's back. Skipper Trust in the 1-1, but Allwood's Chief around him 3 deep. Oridon Hill is 3 back along the inside of Newsbreaker. Then came Roman Origin, who's 3rd last but getting 1 off, trailing at Happy Asset and Northern Brewer at the rear. They've got 2 laps to go, and Allwood's Chief now gets to the death. So with covers, Rainbow Knight 1-1. Holy Chip the leader. Allwood's Chief 2nd. Talk About Charles 3rd. Rainbow Knight 1 out 1 back. 5th on the inside, Oridon Hill, and the rest of the horses are all 1 off. Skipper Trust is followed by Newsbreaker, then Roman Origin, Happy Asset and Northern Brewer at the rear and 30 metres off the lead. Going down the back straight now with 1200 left to go. Holy Chip the leader by 2 metres to Allwood's Chief. Talk About Charles is 3rd. Third on the inside, Rainbow Knight 1-1. Fifth the inside, Orridon Hill. Sixth the outside, Skipper Trust. And then Newsbreaker, Roman Origin, going back to the inside, Northern Brewer. And Happy Asset was last and 25 to 30 metres off the lead. Inside 1,000 metres to go. And Holy Chip is in front. It's margin 2 metres to Woolworth's Chief, who's been in the death for a lap now. Third the inside, Talk About Charles has had a nice run. Rainbow Knight 1-1. Orridon Hill is fifth, but three back along the inside of Skipper Trust. Happy Asset took off from the rear. He's midfield, three deep. Newsbreaker comes out to get onto his back. And then Northern Brewer and Roman Origin back to last as they bunch up out of the straight. They're in the final lap now. Holy Chip is the leader. In second spot, Talk About Charles, the inside of Allwood's Chief. Three wide, Happy Asset. Orridon Hill is three back along the inside of Rainbow Knight, who's now badly pocketed. Newsbreaker around him, then Northern Brewer. Skipper Trust has been shuffled right back. Down the back straight. Holy Chip let us sulk his length. Talk About Charles can get out. Allwood's Chief has dropped back. Happy Asset went around him. Allwood's Chief is dropping back in a big hurry. Rainbow Knight and Skipper Trust have got shuffled back. Holy Chip at the 300, the leader. Talk About Charles gets out. Then Orridon Hill and Happy Asset wide out. Then Northern Brewer. Holy Chip the leader. Talk About Charles is coming at him. Then Happy Asset wide out around Orridon Hill. Talk About Charles on the outside of Holy Chip as they turn. Happy Asset, Orridon Hill into the clear. Holy Chip tackled by Talk About Charles, and then Orridon Hill. Talk About Charles hit the lead. Orridon Hill to second wide. Happy Asset, but Talk About Charles won the Interdominion consolation. Second Orridon Hill. Third Happy Asset. Rainbow Knight, a victim of circumstance, got up along the inside to run fourth. Then Skipper Trust was also unlucky. Holy Chip compounded in the straight. Then Northern Brewer, Allwood's Chief, put pay to a few chances there. Then Newsbreaker and Roman Origin was last. 3:26.3 the time. And number one is the winner. That's Talk About Charles. Peter Tritton. It had a lovely run, but gee, it's not often you can be on the leader's back and get out at the 600 here. And it was able to do that. Orridon Hill was three back along the inside and got out. It couldn't match the winner though, and Happy Asset was a terrific run. Fourth in was Holy Chip weakening, and fifth in was Rainbow Knight. So 178 are the numbers. 178. Talk About Charles. Peter Tritton. It's $25,000 or $20,000 this consolation, so it's a terrific prize to pick up. Raced by Tech Services Proprietary Limited. Raced managed by Bill and Vi Green. Vicky Bridge, the trainer, and Peter Tritton, the driver. They had problems with Kiwi John, of which they had to scratch from tonight's consolation. And they've got the prize with Talk About Charles. Terrific people, Vicky and Peter, and the owners, Bill and Vi. They are lovely people, and you can only wish them the best of success. 1:58 was the last mile, 1:58. The mile rate was 2 minutes, 0.7. The last half in 58.1. So it was the same tempo all the way around. But Allwood's Chief, he put pay to a few chances there. Rainbow Knight, Skipper Trust, every horse that was in the running line, Newsbreaker, all their chances were affected severely when Allwood's Chief just gave in down the back straight. And because of that, they've got shuffled back. So there's quite a few excuses for some of the beaten brigade. And at $21, Talk About Charles wins the Cadbury Interdominion consolation. The numbers are official 178. Fourth in was Holy Chip, number 4. And officially fifth was the very unlucky Rainbow Knight. That's race 4 Hilton at Hobart.
Just wonder whether it's a taste of things to come there, Dan, with a last mile of 1:58 and a half, 58-1. Any one of those horses who worked three wide at any stage weren't able to finish off at all. Allwood's Chief put up the flag at the 700 metre mark. He had enough after 2,000 metres, but if you're going at 1:58 bat, around a 750 metre circuit, not many horses can sustain that, if any. Now, the situation at Globe Derby Park is that the meeting at this stage is in doubt. We're getting nothing down the line other than colour bars and tone, and there's no power restored to Globe Derby at this stage. So big problems there. The meeting is in jeopardy at Globe Derby. Runners are at the boxes at Penrith. Totes the previous to my Rennie Valley. Let's continue looking at the Interdominion Grand Final field. And we got up to Sam Malone, number 6. Jim O'Sullivan, trainer-driver. Jim won the Interdominion in New Zealand, I think, in 1987. With Lightning Blue, as he was known in that country, My Lightning Blue in Australia. And Sam Malone, of course, an ex-Kiwi, has a lot of gate speed. You would expect Jim to go forward from the barrier, perhaps then look for a trail, and finished with a 7th, a 2nd and a 3rd, purely and simply because he has good gate speed, and he held on well in his races. But he'll be probably the rank outsider. Now, Bradshaw, most interesting through the series here. Bradshaw has raced very well, has a lot of gate speed, and drawn on the back of I was going to say talk about Charles, but drawn on the back of Try a Fluke, Bradshaw will be right in the firing line for a long way, because Try a Fluke is expected to come out well. A second, sixth and third through the series. There is a galloper at Moonee Valley. We might leave the update there. There's our Savancelot, 1.375 million. A first, a 10th after being checked when his driver Brian Hancock admitted to a bad drive in jostling for a position on in the 3 wide line, and he came back with a win from barrier 1. We'll continue with a false start Moonee Valley. The offender drawn barrier 1, and the driver of that horse in barrier 1 thinks the race is on. He was sooling his horse through, the man in the green, and now he realises that it's a false start. So barrier 1 caused the false start there. I speak of Ideal Tell. Now, we might, at this stage, continue looking at the remaining runners there. We're down to our Savancelot, Brian Hancock, trainer-driver. Brian, of course, has won 4 Interdominions as either a trainer or a driver. And our Savancelot, if successful tonight, will become only the 3rd horse to win successive Interdominions, Gamalite Hondo Grattan being the other 2. And there's no reason why he can't do it. 29 points he finished with. Anvil Vance, this horse who has a blistering sprint at the end of his races. Barry Purdon, Tony Hurler, he both know strangers to Interdominions. But interesting to note that despite the dominance of New Zealand horses in other races of Grand Circuit or Group 1 provisional status, New Zealand trained pacers have won only 1 of the past 18 finals, and coincidentally Mark Hanover, trained by Barry Purdon, was that horse in 1991. A second, a first and a second through the series. He has a lightning sprint at the end of his races, as he's shown through the series, and he will be charging at the end. The distance might be a little worry though. Late Bid, what a grinder. Dennis Wilson will drive, with Ricky Thurlow driving tonight at Bathurst for the Peter Walsh stable. So Dennis Wilson has the privilege of driving Late Bid at Dower Stayer, but he can sprint if held up. As we saw last year, he was unlucky in the final in Adelaide, and he's the sort of horse who thrives on this style of racing, with 3 runs in 10 days or 14 days, and he'll be cherry ripe for tonight's final, but not drawn all that well. We'll have a quick look at the market as they move up again at Moonee Valley. Try a Fluke with 68,000 in the Super Tab pool is $11. Good Odds New South Wales Queensland, Ataturk at $18. Anvil Star showing $13. Quantum Low Bill $6.60, better odds in Queensland. Captain Rufus $8.30, big odds New South Wales Queensland, naturally a Victorian trained pacer. Sam Malone $19. Bradshaw's about 20 to 1. Our Savancelot, very short New South Wales Queensland, currently $2.40 on Super Tab. Somewhat of a surprise, but you'd expect him to come in. Anvil Vance $8.60 and Late Bid at $17. Bit more than an hour to the Interdominion Grand Final, and Dan went 9, 8 and 3. Still nothing happening at Globe Derby, but they're moving 17. Anvil Star 13, $7.40 for Quantum Low Bill. Captain Rufus $10. Sam Malone at 23, Bradshaw into $18. Our Savancelot firming to $2.20. Anvil Vance $8.20, Late Bid $20. 983 from Dan, and the late mail is 8 Our Savancelot from Darren. Being boxed at Penrith, here's Fred. $8 now. The late money's come for Our Savancelot. Back into $1.90, but Anvil Vance continues to firm. 7.10 with 175,000 in the pool. What a terrific win pool. 6.30 for number 9. And they're starting to move up for a start. So let's take you to Dan Malecki now for the Interdominion Pacing Championship Grand Final.
Of the Hobart track, 750 metres in circumference. Our Savancelot at $1.90. $6.30 for number 9, Anvil Vance. $8 for Quantum Low Bell number 4. They're set to go. History about to be made in 1998. And they're racing in the Inter Grand Final. Try a Fluke began quickly on the inside. Sam Malone trying to go with him, but Try a Fluke's in front to the first turn. Quantum Lobel is wide and having to ease back, and Bradshaw's getting a lovely run through to get onto the back of Try a Fluke, who was able to lead comfortably here. Sam Malone driven along to get to the spot second on the outside of Bradshaw. Ataturk eases back. It'll settle 3 back on the inside. Anvil Star around it. And then Anvil Vance in the running line. Captain Rufus went back at the start. He'll settle down at the rear of the field. Late Bid is 4 back along the inside. Our Savancelot is 3 deep at the moment around the stablemate Quantum Lobel. He ran into trouble there and got a bit of a check. And our Savancelot, Hancock was stuck 3 wide and he decided to go, and go he does on the defending champion. Our Savancelot is winding up around the outside to have a crack for the lead, and he'll get it too without any effort at all. So our Savancelot's in front. They haven't gone a lap yet. Try a Fluke is on his back, and Sam Malone still without cover third. Bradshaw fourth the inside. Anvil Star on the outside of Ataturk, and then Anvil Vance. Next the inside Late Bid, and then came Quantum Lobel, and about 6 or 7 metres to Captain Rufus, about 35 off the lead. 2.5 laps to go, and the favourites in front, and that is our Savancelot. A sulky's length to Try a Fluke. Third the outside was Sam Malone. Hancock trying to put the brakes on a little bit here. Anvil Star is 1 out, 1 back. Here's Quantum Lobel, 3 wide circling the field. Bradshaw 3 back the inside. Captain Rufus 3 deep on the back of Quantum Lobel. As they come down the straight, 2 to go. Anvil Vance is third last around Ataturk, and Late Bid was at the rear. The stablemates are 1-2 with 2 circuits to go. Our Savancelot the inside from Quantum Lobel, and Captain Rufus is 3 wide as they head out of the straight. On the inside, trailing the leader was Try a Fluke. Then Sam Malone outside of Bradshaw. Anvil Star. Ataturk the inside from Anvil Vance, and Late Bid was last and 25 to 30 metres off the lead. Down the back, 1,200 left to go. And our Savancelot's in front. He leads 2.5 metres to Captain Rufus. Try a Fluke third on the inside. 1-1 now Quantum Lobel. Bradshaw fifth, and then Sam Malone outside of Ataturk. Anvil Star shuffle back to third last. Then Late Bid going back to the inside of Anvil Vance as they run up towards the home bend. About 1,000 to go. Our Savancelot's in front. He's 2 metres clear. Captain Rufus second. Third the inside Try a Fluke. 1 out and 1 back Quantum Lobel. Bradshaw fifth, and then Sam Malone. Ataturk is over on the inside as they head into the straight from Anvil Star. Anvil Vance comes out 3 wide, and Late Bid at the rear. Sam Malone coming out in front of Anvil Vance, who's got force very wide. He's 4 deep. Going out of the straight, our Savancelot. He's 1 metre clear. Running second, Captain Rufus. They're into the last lap now. Try a Fluke is third on the inside. Then came Sam Malone wide around Quantum Lobel. Then Bradshaw. Ataturk gets 1 off. Anvil Star 3 deep, and then Late Bid, and Anvil Vance is last and 20 off the lead. But it's our Savancelot in the 1998 Cadbury Interdominion final. Can he make it back to back? He's 2 metres in front of Captain Rufus, called on. Try a Fluke, the leader's back, can't get a run yet. Then came Bradshaw, Quantum Lobel, Late Bid, Ataturk, Anvil Star. Anvil Vance very wide, but it's our Savancelot. Hancock hasn't gone for him yet. He's 3 metres to Try a Fluke. Captain Rufus gone. Then came out wide on the track Bradshaw. Our Savancelot turned in front. Try a Fluke in second spot. Our Savancelot 2 metres clear. Try a Fluke won't get him. Hail the champ of Australasian harness racing is our Savancelot, and he makes it back to back into Dominions. Our Savancelot first beat Try a Fluke, and a terrific effort by Late Bid close up third, then Bradshaw, Anvil Star. Then came Captain Rufus. Anvil Vance was a little bit unfortunate in the run. Quantum Lobel and Sam Malone are pulling up at the tail of the field, and Ataturk has battled on about midfield. Number 8, the winner, our Savancelot. Brian Hancock has been able to win, and he's been able to do it easily, but I must admit, in the run, if you were expecting him to get beaten, you were acting for something for God to get involved with, because he just did it too easily. Number 1, second, Try a Fluke, and ran a bottler of a race, but the winner's just too good, and it is as simple as that. The winner is just too good. 8, our Savancelot. Brian Hancock creating history tonight in a race that just about belongs to Brian Hancock. Brian drove Koala King in 1980. He trained Thorate in 1990. Trained and drove We Own a Warrior in 94. And in 1997 and 98 is the trainer and driver of our Savancelot. And I haven't seen this too often before. He's done a victory lap. Our Savancelot has just continued on instead of pulling up at the 300. Brian Hancock has continued on, and I get the feeling that this is one of the most satisfying moments that Brian's ever had, because he's been able to win an Interdominion with a horse better than just a real good pace-up. 8, 1 and 10 are official. 4th in number 7, Bradshaw. 5th in was number 2, Ataturk, which was a good run under the circumstances. 325.2 is the gross. Mile rate of 2 minutes, 0.1. That's the mile rate, 2 minutes, 0.1. The last half in 57.2. 57.2 for the last half. And the last mile we're not too sure about because it's not yet with us. Interdominion final winner. And that little banner across the bottom of the screen there is something which has been there for 12 months and will, well, who knows? He's only a 7-year-old, probably at the peak of his career. I wonder if he could make it 3. I don't think anyone would doubt that at the moment. An easy win. He drew away from Fluke, who was a courageous run. And late bid, you've got to give this horse credit, starting from outside of the second line, perhaps in a race that really didn't suit him the way it was run. Peter Walsh has done a great job with this horse to get into 3rd. You can see Ataturk getting up along the inside and Bradshaw wide out on the track. But I think most of the rival trainers and drivers were of the belief that they needed something extra special to happen to our Savancelot to give their horses any chance. And, well, there was no bad luck to our Savancelot. He was just too good. He's getting a terrific ovation from the crowd here. Brian Hancock is a very, very popular horseman at this circuit. He's made numerous visits over years with many different horses. His association with Tasmania extends back to, of course, Thorate, who led the field out onto the track for the 1998 Cadbury Interdominion final. And this is what harness racing's about. It's what every owner, trainer, driver, and let me tell you, race caller as well, strive for. The Interdominion, and in 1998, it was Tasmania and Hobart that were able to host it. And the history books are being printed as we speak. The 1998 Cadbury Interdominion champion, once again, is our Savancelot and Brian Hancock. And we'll bring some further details when they come to hand. They're 4.5 metres by 1.5, the margins, 4.5 by 1.5. We haven't yet got a last mile as yet. It is a track record run, which is of no surprise either. And 2 minutes, 0.1 a mile rate. That will be a track record. 4.5 metres, 1.5. Officially 4th was number 7, Bradshaw. And 5th in was number 2. And that was Ataturk. And we have all clear. All clear on the 1998 Cadbury Interdominion final from the Hobart Showgrounds. The trophy presentations are going to take place with 8, 1 and 10 and all clear. 57.2 I gave you the last half. 325.2 the gross. The mile rate 2 minutes, 0.1 a track record. We're just waiting on a last mile and it just hasn't come up on the board. It's come up as about 2 minutes something and 50 seconds. Well, that couldn't be right. So if we get it, we'll be able to pass it on down the line. But it is all clear on the 6th, the big one from Tasmania, the Hobart Showgrounds, the inter-final for the 2nd year in a row, won by our Savancelot.
And all things being equal, there's just no presentation at Hobart continuing. And, of course, the track record run to our Savancelot, 2 minutes, 0.1. That's Dr. Ern Mania, who's chairman of the Australian Harness Racing Council. Totes 190, 130 our Savancelot. Fluke 290. Late bid 440. 1620 Quinella. And the trifecta $256.80. Now, they're coming up at Bathurst. Albion Park will follow. 215 African Violets.